Good morning, everybody. Welcome for our lesson today. We are continuing with the political development systems, and we looked at very many things behind. So we also want to look at the second Langhouse Conference. I think we talked about the first Langhouse Conference was held in 1960, and then after 2 years now, on the line we see that now we have second Langhouse Conference. Remember when we said the attainment of independence, that when the declaration of emergency was done by Governor Seval in Bering, all political parties were banned in the country. Then also there was arrest and detention of the political leaders. So we can talk about the Kapenguria 6, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, you have Paul Ngei, Bildad Kagia, Fred Kubai, Ochieng Oneko, and Kung Karumba. Those are some of the members. Then we also say that in 1961 we had what we call the first independent election. KANU won but refused to form the government. They demanded for release of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta from the prison. So the same year, 1961 August, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta was released from prison. And then Kariuki Njiri was the member of parliament, stepped down from Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. There was also James Kishuru, the acting president of KANU, also stepped down from Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. Now Jomo Kenyatta became the president of this political party. Now, in 1962, second Langhouse Conference was held, and it was attended by both KANU and KADU members. So both KANU and KADU members were attended the conference in London. That's Langhouse Conference, the second one. And then we had some things which was agreed during that conference. Number one, we are saying that the Kenya was to form Majimbo system of government, which we call it the federal, the one that KADU had demanded to form Kenya into regions. So, and these regions should have their own leaders. Then also there was another one. Kenya was to form a coalition government. That is KANU and KADU to form a coalition government working together. When we talk about coalition, then we are looking at two political parties coming together and work together as one. So that's what we're talking about. Now, in 1963, independent election was held. So KANU won. It won with 71 seats. And then we had KADU had 31 seats. Then we had another political party called the APP had 8 seats. So KANU formed the government. That is 1963 now, independent election. So KANU won. Then 1st June, this is now May, election was done in May. 1st June 1963, Kenya caught internal self-rule, what we call the independence. So 1st June we had internal self-rule independence was attained, where now the Kenyatta became the prime minister, but although controlling the internal affairs, governor was still the head of state and controlling the external affairs, the commander in armed forces and so on. So remember that. Then Kenyatta became the prime minister, as we have said, to control internal affairs. Then at the national level, or at the top level, we had the governor who was a European, still continuing to take external parts of the country. He was controlling that. And then the same year, Legico was abolished, and then there was also what we call National Assembly was formed now. That is about independent, or some of what was agreed during the Langhouse Conference. Now, Kenya becomes a republic. Kenya became a republic in 1964. So 1964, Kenya became a republic, meaning it has an executive president who is an African. KANU, so 1964, KANU persuaded KADU and the APP to join KANU. So remember that we had some of the political parties which are very strong. So when Kenya became a republic, the KANU members persuaded or pressurized for KADU members and the APP to dissolve their parties and join KANU to be one political party. Then during that time, changes took place in the constitution. So these are our changes. Majimbo system of government was also abolished. Remember earlier we said that KADU demanded for Majimbo, which was formed at independence. But now during 1964, when Kenya becomes a republic, we are seeing that Majimbo system of government was abolished. So that's what you're talking about. Then the post of the governor was also abolished. So because now we are talking about the president. So 1964, when Kenya became a republic, the post of governor was abolished, then was replaced by the president. So president became the head of state instead of the governor. And remember, the governor was a European. Then the government with the executive president was formed. So by that time we had a governor, but now president had been involved in. Then executive government was also formed with the president as the head of state. Then Kenyatta became the president and the head of state, and even the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Earlier was the governor, but now we are seeing our first African, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, becomes the president, the head of state, and the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So then on 12th December, Kenya became a republic, so the full handing of power to the African was done. Then Kenyatta became the president of the Republic of Kenya as the first president. Now, that's why we normally celebrate. So on the 12th December, we celebrate Madaraka Day. Or sorry, not Madaraka, but a Jamhuri Day. We call it Jamhuri when Kenya became a republic. Jamhuri. So this is Jamhuri. We mean a republic where an executive president is elected by the people and so on. So on 12th December, we celebrate Jamhuri Day. So remember that. So that it is. Now, after that, we are going to look at something else. This is political development in Kenya since 1963. So now we have come all the way from 1901 or 1920, where Kenya was declared a colony. We have talked about very many things behind there. So we want to look at now, after independence, we have some constitutional changes affecting the political system of Kenya. That's what we want to look at. So we shall look at the constitutional amendments affecting political parties since the 1963 after independence. Now, number one, at independence, Kenya was a multi-party state. And when we talk about multi-partyism, then we are looking at, allow me to wrap this. So we are saying at independence, Kenya was a multi-party state. So we have major political parties. We had KANU, KADU, then APP. KANU, we say it means Kenya African National Union. KADU means Kenya African Democratic Union. Then APP means African People's Party. So Kenya was a multi-party democracy. And when you talk about multi-party democracy, then we are looking at many political parties. Many political parties are allowed to participate in election. So we can see that in 1963, we can see that election was held. Then these are some of the parties that took in the election. So a multi-party democracy is where many political parties are allowed to take part in election. So at independence, Kenya was a multi-party democracy. Then as we move, we want to look at multi-party democracy in Kenya. Now, Multiparty democracy, as we have said, means many political parties are allowed to take part in election. Then any party that wins forms the government with the majority seats in the parliament. Then the other political parties, they form what we call opposition party. Like right now in Kenya, we are talking about Jubilee as the ruling party. It is the one which won in 2017 election. Then you talk about the NASA and the other small political parties like KANU. They formed what we call opposition. Then we want to also to look at the role of opposition. Opposition party has its role in the government. In any democracy, where we have opposition, it plays a very important role. So opposition, the role of opposition is to put the government on toes. Or also you can say to criticize the government, or we can say to ensure that the ruling party or the government delivers according to its manifestos. Manifestos are those promises made during campaign by political parties. They may promise maybe free secondary and primary education, construction of good roads, and so on. Those are what we call manifestos. So when we talk about opposition party, then we are looking at it plays a very important role in any democratic republic. To put the government on toes is to make sure that the government is always alert. To make sure. Then to criticize the government. Criticize means to question the government wherever they have gone wrong or whatever they do something wrong for the citizens. They need to criticize. Then also to ensure that what they promised the people during their campaign, they fulfill them. That's the role of opposition. So let us go back to where we were. So we said that the party that wins forms election with the majority seat in the parliament. Then the other small parties in the parliament also they form what we call opposition. I've given the role of opposition here. Now, 1964, APP, African People's Party, KADU, Kenya African Democratic Union, now dissolved to join what we call KANU. So these political parties in 1964, they dissolved the two, APP and KADU, then they joined KANU to form one party. But the constitution was not amended at that time. So Kenya remained operating as a multi-party state, but with only one political party active, which is KANU. Because you have said APP dissolved and then they joined KANU, but the constitution was not amended. So that's what you're talking about. Now, in 1982, the constitution was now amended. Then Section 2A of the constitution was added in the constitution to make Kenya a single party democracy. So 1982, we are seeing that the constitution is amended to make Kenya a single party democracy. It is here. So remember that. So between 1982 to around 1990, Kenya was a single party democracy. Single means one. So only KANU was the only political party in Kenya. So that's what you're talking about by addition of Section 2A of the Constitution through the amendment. Then in 1991, the Constitution also was amended. 1991, the Constitution was amended. Then Section 2A was removed. Removal of Section 2 2A. So removal of Section 2A in 1991, it makes back now Kenya to go back to what we call a multiparty democracy. Because we know very well that where any democracy where you have a multipartyism, people will always air their views without any problem. But if we have only one political party, to some extent it normally exploits the individuals or the citizens. Their rights are denied. So some people pressurized that in 1991, the constitution to be amended, then we go back to what we call multi-party democracy by removing Section 2A of the Constitution. And we have some members which pressurized for this to happen. So we have some members who pressurized for removal of Section 2 of the Constitution. One of them is Raila Amolo Odinga. We have seen this man always making noise in this country. That is an opposition leader also, but though he has joined the government. But this man also was there during 1991 to make sure that people also benefit from multipartyism. Then we have John Keane, was also another member. Charles Rubia. Charles Rubia was there was also somebody called Kenneth Matiba. We have George Anyona, so also a member who pressurized for that. Then we have other members here. We have Raila, I've said. Oginga Odinga was also there. Can you see Oginga Odinga and his son Raila Odinga were there. Then James Orengo, one of the greatest lawyers in Kenya. So James Orengo was also there. Paul Muite, is also a lawyer. Martha Karua, she's also a lawyer. Mwai Kibaki, she's also a former president. Michael Kijana Wamalwa, former vice president, he died some years back. Then we have Kidobu Imanyara. Then we have a greater environment preservative called Professor Wangari Maathai, was also among those members. Then lastly, we had somebody called Mohammed Bahamaris. So those are the members who pressurized for multipartyism 1991 by removing of Section 2A of the Constitution through what we call constitutional amendment. Now, we want to look at some of the small parties which were formed in 1990s. We had also some other small parties which were formed. So we have what we call Forum Restoration of Democracy, FORD, 1991. So we have what we call FORD, Forum of Restoration Democracy. That one was formed in 1991. Then we have founder members, Oginga Odinga, Masinde Muliro, Martin Shikuku, Mohammed Bahamaris, George Ngede. Then we have Michael Kijana Wamalwa. So those are the founder members of that political party. Then we have another one called Fotasil, 1992. So this one was formed in 1991. Then we have another one called Ford Asil. This one was formed in 1992. Then we shall also look at the founder members. We have Kenneth Matiba. Then we have Martin Shikuku. Those are some of the members. Then we have TP, Democratic Party. This one is also another party which was formed in 1990s to promote economic development in the country, where Mwai Kibaki is the one who formed this one. So this one was formed by the former president Mwai Kibaki, mainly to promote economic development in the country through mobilization of African people. Then we have another one called Kenya Social Congress, formed by George Anyona. There's also another one called the National Democratic Party, Development Party, sorry. Then Fort Kenya. Those are some of the small parties that were formed during 1990s. So that is all about today. I think we shall continue next lesson. Thank you.